Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and it's really good to see you. I feel like I've been doing really well. I promised you 4 videos for this month and I am delivering, so I'm gonna give myself a nice pat on the back because you all know how hard it is for me to do this, so I'm also challenging myself and overcoming my fears, or laziness, whatever you may call it. I'm challenging myself to do better. Welcome to the Label Lion page, and here we talk everything marketing, mindset, and entrepreneurship, right? We want to thrive, we want to succeed, we want to do better, we want to build legacies. That's what we're trying to do here. And we don't have to wear suits and ties to do it. And that's what this page is all about. And that's what this page is all about. Before we go into today's topic, don't forget to subscribe, click like, share the video, comment. Don't forget, we're all about that here. We're all about sharing, we're all about community, we're all about conversation. So let's do that today. And I think today's topic is going to be really yummy for a couple of you because it's a conversation that I love to have, especially on Twitter. And this is a conversation about saturation, right? So I often get DMs and emails from people saying to me, Lebu, I want to start a business in the beauty industry. I want to sell lipsticks and makeup, but everyone seems like they're doing it. It seems like everybody is doing this. Or I want to be in speaking, but it seems like there's so many speakers, People keep sending me emails saying, should I do this business? I don't know if I should because it seems like the market is saturated, right? And what does it mean for a market to be saturated from the normal definition of the word? And by normal, I just mean by the way that everybody uses it. So when people are saying this to me, they're basically saying, we feel like there are too many players in the market. There's just too many people offering products and services in that sector or industry that there is no room for me. And every time people send me this message, I say to them, there is no such thing as no room for you. Saturation only means that there's room for more innovation and there are more opportunities. So you have to come at it differently, You can't go into an industry that's saturated and do things the way everybody's been doing it because there are a lot of people doing it. But it doesn't mean you can't be in that industry. It just means that you're going to have to be a little bit more creative about how you do whatever you're trying to do in that industry. Whether you're competing on price, whether you're competing on how you do your marketing and communication, whether you're going to come and bring a product that supports the products that are already in the market, you need to be creative in terms of how you want to step into that market. Remember? So saturation doesn't mean that there's no room for you. It just means that because the infrastructure has already been laid down, somebody's already done the work of popularizing the industry, of creating the need, of creating a general market for the thing. It means that you have to do more work to take advantage of the opportunities that are already there because somebody else laid the groundwork, and so they're going to reap the rewards of doing that, or the first few people in that industry are going to reap the rewards of being the first few players in that industry. But it doesn't mean that just because there are a lot of players now that you can't reap some kind of success or reward from being in the industry. You just have to be intelligent about how you do it. So for example, something that I see a lot in the beauty industry is that, there are lots of new players in beauty all the time, and there's nothing wrong with that. But what I see lacking in the beauty industry a lot of is customer communication and brands that actually listen to what their customers say that they want, and then improving the product, iterating the product so that the customer feels heard and seen and actually enjoys using the product more than they did before. And so the innovation for me a lot of the time in the beauty industry really is in the gaps that people are willingly allowing to exist because they just don't want to listen to their customers, and they're floating on that or riding the wave of arrogance of thinking that they're the only players or the couple of players in the industry, and that they'll be the same, that it will be the same makeup in that industry for the entire time that the industry is in existence, So that's why you're finding that brands like Fenty really disrupted the market because she came through with shades for black women. And black women have been crying to brands and saying, please, we need more shades that suit our skin tone, that are actually true to skin tone, not even suit are true to skin tone, you know? And brands just kept quiet and said, well, we're the only ones making it, so you're just going to have to take what we're giving you. And then Rihanna came with Fenty. And it also started a revolution of other brands that came and said, actually, we're also going to capitalize on this, you know? So the beauty industry had already existed. People were already selling makeup. But someone came in and said, I want to sell makeup, but I want to sell it to an underserved market in that market. You know, I want to sell it to an underserved group of people who are only using these products because they have no other choice. You get what I'm trying to say? So saturation doesn't mean that there are no opportunities. It just means that you have to try a little bit harder to find the right opportunities for you. And that's where the concept of double niching comes in, you know? When an industry already exists, it means that they've already identified people who need that product. It's an industry because the need is consistent. The need keeps growing over time, and that's why it becomes an industry and not just a trend, right? So for you to take advantage of an industry that's already been established, an industry that's already identified that there are people who are consistently willing to buy something, you have to double niche. You have to find that underserved market within that niche, you know? Who are the women who are not being served by the makeup that currently exists? So who are the people who are not being served by the products and services that are already on offer in the market? You know, and that's where you find your sweet spot, right? And we find that a lot of the time in the marketing industry and in the business world, they call this your USP, your unique selling proposition. What is it about you that makes you different from all the other products and services that exist in the market? You know, why should someone buy from you? And if you've tuned into some of my talks, I did share a talk that I did with 67 CEOs, and I spoke about something called the PSSP framework. And this framework really is to help you identify whether or not your product in its existing form can be commercially viable. If you want to understand how to use the PSSP framework, all you have to do is to go to the 67 CEOs YouTube page and watch my talk where I'm talking about digital marketing and how to grow a business in these uncertain times, right? But the PSSP framework basically allows you to ask yourself the right questions that help you identify the challenges that you might be facing in your business and identify your strengths in the businesses and help you immediately capitalize on that. You know, so the PSSP framework is not just a conceptual thing, it's a real roadmap and a tool to launching into the market. So I heavily recommend and suggest that you try and find that video on the 67 CEOs page and check it out. You can also find it on my Instagram page at @levelline_SA in my IGTV. I've also reshared the PSSP framework. So guys, remember, right, I think the moral of this video is to help you guys remember that saturation doesn't mean that there is no room for new players in the market. It just means that you're going to have to be more creative and more innovative to access the opportunities that are already existing in that market. The opportunities are there. You know, there's so much abundance in the world, and I think that's something we're also not taught. There's so much abundance. There is room for all of us, and all you have to do is identify, you know, where you fit in. Find your room, but there is room for all of us. There's always space in the market for another player. You just have to be creative and innovative about it. And guys, before I go, don't forget to subscribe, like the video, share the video, comment. I want to know what you think. Have you been afraid to enter an industry because you think it's saturated? Or do you feel a bit bogged down with your current business or hustle because you feel like there are too many players in the market so you don't know where to go? Let me know so we can talk about the strategies that we need to overcome this. And I think I might also make this a masterclass. I'm just not sure when, so we can help entrepreneurs navigate through saturation, you know, and unearth the opportunities that exist within saturated markets. And don't forget, you can also check out my website, www.labelline.com, and check out our blog. Subscribe to our blog called The Outsiders Blog. You can also listen to our podcast called the Label Line Podcast. The Label Lion Podcast. I have to say that again. The Label Lion Podcast. You can also listen to our podcast called the Label Lion Podcast on SoundCloud, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Right? You can check it out. The links are also on my YouTube bio and on my Instagram and Twitter bio. So really there's no excuse. There's so much information out there waiting for you to consume and to use to empower yourself. So let's do this, guys. We are greater than our circumstances and we deserve to live the lives that we want. So until next time, toodles.